Very good evening to the EAPCET aspirants of Telangana. NEET World is here that I have brought you up Botany 2025 memory based EAPCET question analysis. So yes, I have brought few questions beta which have appeared in the recent examination, that is EAPCET 2025. Let us look into this memory based questions of students, okay, and let us check our performance also. So few questions, like you might get this, you might have got this question, right? Like in plants, water movement through apoplast occurs through. We will also revise concepts here, okay? In plants, water movement through apoplast occurs mainly by, okay, in plants, water movement through apoplast occurs mainly by diffusion, that occurs mainly by diffusion. And then during photosynthesis, oxygen is released from, it is from the experiment C.B. Van Neel, okay, it is from the experiment C.B. Van Neel, who has conducted bacterial photosynthesis, okay. So this C.B. Van Neel conducting bacterial photosynthesis, he said that oxygen which is evolved from the photosynthesis is from water, it is from water, not from carbon dioxide, okay. So the oxygen which is evolved as a byproduct from photosynthesis is from water, not from carbon dioxide. So here what is the answer, Nana? Water, okay. So you might have got this question of photolysis of water, where during photosynthesis oxygen is released from water molecule, where one molecule of water is photolized to 2 protons plus 2 electrons plus oxygen atom, okay. So this is the photolysis of water which happens in the lumen of thylakoid, okay. If he might have asked you where is the site of photolysis of water, then you have to locate it inner side of the thylakoid lamellae, that is towards thylakoid lumen, okay ma. Next, which plant shows vivipary? Which plant will show vivipary, that is seeds germinate while attached to the parental plant? This you will see in mangroves, like Rhizophora and Avicennia, okay. In these plants you can observe. The first stable product of Kelvin cycle is 3-phosphoglyceric acid, okay. The first stable product of Kelvin cycle is what, Nana? 3-phosphoglyceric acid. If the question is the first stable product is of C4 cycle, if this is the question, then your answer should be oxaloacetic acid. If in case the first stable product, the first carbon dioxide acceptor, okay, the first carbon dioxide acceptor for C3 cycle, okay, C3 cycle, first carbon dioxide acceptor, then you have to consider ribulose bisphosphate, okay. And pyruvate, this you will see the end product or the ultimate step, last step of glycolysis, where glucose is converted to pyruvate, okay. One such question where the first stable product of Kelvin cycle, if this is the question, then your answer should be the 3-phosphoglyceric acid, first stable product. If the first stable product of C4, then your answer should be OAA, okay. Now next, anemophily, okay. Anemophily refers to pollination by wind. If your question have asked from hydrophily, then it should be water, okay. Entomophily, then it should be insects. Ornithophily, then it should be birds, okay. Next, which of the following tissues have dead cells at maturity, okay. Which cells have dead cells at the maturity, Nana? Sclerenchymatous tissue have dead cells at maturity. And then if you see, which of the following is a secondary metabolite, okay. If you see, this is from biomolecules, na. If secondary metabolite, that type of question have come to you, then starch, cellulose, protein all these comes under primary metabolites, where plant will use these primary metabolites for their growth, okay, growth and development. But alkaloids, terpenes, these are some secondary metabolites where the plant will use for defense, okay. So these are the answer here will be alkaloids. Next, guttation occurs through. What is guttation actually? The guttation occurs through the leaf surfaces. At the apex of the leaves, some structures will be called as hydathoids. At the apex surfaces of the leaves, some structures called as hydathoids. From this, guttation will occur, okay. If you got some question like guttation, then this should be our answer, that is hydathoids. And next, double fertilization was first discovered by Navastin, okay. Double fertilization was first discovered by Navastin. Which plant hormone is responsible for leaf fall? If this is your question, which hormone is responsible for abscission? The hormone which is responsible for abscission is ethylene. If in your question ABA is mentioned as an option, then your option will be abscisic acid. If ethylene is given, then your answer should be ethylene, okay. This will promote abscission. The primary abscission is promoted by abscisic acid, then after this comes the priority of ethylene. And next, few set of questions like example of symbiotic nitrogen fixation. From nitrogen fixation, if this is your question, then the answer will be symbiotic nitrogen fixation is rhizobium, which is associated with leguminous plants. These are associated with leguminous plants, okay. Next, plants adapted to dry conditions called as xerophytes, okay. Plants adapted to dry conditions are called as xerophytes, if this is your question. Or else if plants, aquatic plants are belonging to what habitat, then what do you call as aquatic plants? Then if that is the question, you have to choose hydrophytes, okay. And if those plants like mangroves, Rhizophora, Avicennia, where do they live? What is their habitat? If that was your question, you can go with halophytes, okay. So these are few questions which I have collected, okay, from students. Based on that, these questions I have discussed as a part of memory based paper discussion of botany, that is EAPCET Botany 2025. Yes, coming up with where we are exploring all the diagrams of NCERT in our next sessions. So stay tuned with the NEET World to make your NEET 2025 also a successful story. Thank you.